Hi friends. Today we embark on another captivating journey into the shadowy world of true crime stories. Get ready to investigate, discover, and reveal the secrets of a dark and dramatic case. Are you prepared to dive into this thrilling investigation? Let's begin now. In today's episode, we explore the chilling case of Tom Prevagen, a strict and controlling father whose life was ended by a fatal dose of arsenic. This episode sheds light on the dark dynamics within the Prevagen family and the path that led to Tom's tragic death. Tom Prevagen, also known as Tom, is a 45-year-old man living in Spartanburg, South Carolina. He is famous for being a hard-working and very strict person. Tom works as a foreman at a manufacturing plant. This job requires him to be very precise and good at leadership. He graduated from Clemson University with an engineering degree, which helped him get a good job. Tom lives with his 16-year-old twin daughters, Emerson and Ellison Prevagen. His wife, Janet, passed away when the girls were young, which left Tom to raise them alone. Although he loves his daughter very much, Tom has a controlling and overprotective personality, which causes many arguments within the family. Tom's daily life is very orderly. He enjoys reading books about engineering and leadership, enjoying whiskey in the evening, updating news from Fox News, and watching football. Tom dreams of his daughters being successful and living a stable life, but his strict rules often conflict with their desire for freedom. Emerson is smart and cares about social justice, while Ellison is rebellious, loving to drive even though his father forbade him. In May 2014, Tom's life in Spartanburg was normal, with a routine of going to work, reading books, and watching the news. The weather warms and the twins prepare for summer vacation, but tensions within the family are increasing. Emerson and Ellison were dissatisfied with their father's rules and wanted the freedom to live their lives. On the morning of May 12th, in thick fog, Margaret Wilkins, a neighbor and retired nurse, went to check on Tom when he did not appear as usual. Worried, she knocked on the door, but no one answered, so she used a spare key to enter the house. In Tom's house, everything was quiet except for the ticking of the clock. Margaret called Tom's name but received no response. When she entered the living room, she was stunned to see Tom lying motionless on the couch, next to an empty whiskey glass. Her heart beat fast when she checked for a pulse but found none. She called 911 in fear and urgency. While waiting, Margaret noticed a strange silence in the room. When paramedics arrived, they confirmed Tom had died. They noticed empty glasses and whiskey bottles, which became important evidence. Margaret was shocked by the departure of her longtime friend, describing Tom as a strict but kind person who always cared about her daughter. She stood and watched as medical staff covered Tom's body with a white sheet, waiting for the police to arrive. The news of Tom's death spread quickly throughout the neighborhood. People gathered in small groups, whispering and wondering what had happened to the man they saw every day, who suddenly disappeared. Police quickly arrived at Tom's home on the morning of May 12, 2014. Lead Detective Samuel Harris, a seasoned officer known for his thoroughness and calm demeanor, was accompanied by Officer Lisa Rodriguez, a new officer but with a sharp mind and eager to learn. When they entered the house, they found Tom lying on the couch in the living room. The scene was quiet and orderly, making the situation even more unstable. There were no signs of a struggle or duress. Tom looked peaceful, almost as if he was sleeping, but the empty whiskey glass on the coffee table told a different story. Detective Harris examines the living area where Tom was discovered. The room is simple with a couch, coffee table, TV, and an open copy of the Wall Street Journal on the table. A half-empty bottle of whiskey lay on the sideboard. The officers took notes and took photos, while Officer Rodriguez interviewed Margaret Wilkins, the person who discovered the body. Margaret, still in shock, describes Tom's habits and that it is unusual for him to miss his morning walk. Her information helped officers better understand the death timeline. Detective Harris directed to collect samples from the wine bottle and glass and look for fingerprints. Meanwhile, neighbors gathered outside, curious and worried about Tom's death. Detective Harris needs to find answers quickly to ease tensions in the community. By mid-morning, the forensic team had collected all possible evidence from the scene and brought Tom's body to the medical examiner's office for an autopsy. Preliminary results showed that Tom had been poisoned, and the empty whiskey glass and half-empty whiskey bottle suggested the poison was used. Detective Harris and Officer Rodriguez review notes and discuss next steps. They need to interview Tom's twin daughters, Emerson and Ellison, to learn more about Tom's life and relationships. Police question the first suspect, Tom's 16-year-old daughter, Emerson. Emerson, an excellent student and passionate about social issues, often argued with his father about different views. On May 12, 2014, Detective Harris and Officer Rodriguez went to her home to interview her. Emerson was nervous but calm when asked to come to the station. There, she admitted to having a difficult relationship with her father, saying he was too controlling. On the night Tom died, she said she was studying for a history test and was inspired by the civil rights movement, claiming she knew nothing about her father's death. Although her calm demeanor seemed unusual, Emerson firmly denied any involvement and expressed love for her father. Police also questioned Emerson about her sister Ellison. Emerson described Ellison as more rebellious and free-spirited. She mentioned that Ellison smoked marijuana and learned to drive without their father's knowledge, often sneaking out late at night. This information helps police better understand the motives and relationships within the family. The second suspect police questioned was Emerson's twin sister, Ellison. Unlike her sister, Ellison often conflicts with her father's strict rules and is determined to assert her own path. On the afternoon of May 13, 2014, Detective Harris and Officer Rodriguez returned home. Tense atmosphere. Ellison was in his room, listening to music on his iPod. The police asked her to come to the station for an interview, and she reluctantly agreed. At the station, Ellison sat across from Detective Harris. She appeared nervous, played with her hair, and avoided eye contact. The detective begins by asking about his relationship with his father. Ellison admitted that they often argued, and she felt that Tom's rules were too strict. She mentioned that she learned to drive secretly, which led to many heated arguments. Detective Harris then asked about the night Tom died. Ellison said she was out with friends and snuck out after dinner. She mentioned that they went to a local hangout that was popular with teenagers. She returned home late and went straight to her room without noticing anything unusual. Despite his concerns, Ellison's answers seemed honest. However, her rebellious nature and frequent arguments with her father made her a prime suspect. Detective Harris asked if she had any reason to harm her father. Ellison firmly denied any involvement and said that while they argued, she still loved her father. Police also questioned Ellison about her sister, Emerson. Ellison describes Emerson as the more responsible and studious twin. She mentions that Emerson is always reading and doing her schoolwork, which sometimes annoys her. However, she does not believe Emerson had anything to do with their father's death. Detective Harris demands more details about the days leading up to Tom's death. Ellison mentioned that Tom was more irritable than usual, but she didn't think much of it. She recalled one particular argument they had about her driving lesson, but nothing out of the ordinary. After the interview, police review their findings. Ellison's rebellious nature and strained relationship with her father made her a suspect, but her alibi for hanging out with friends needed to be verified. They decided to check her story and see if anyone could confirm her whereabouts the night Tom died. Police turned their attention to Ellison's 18-year-old boyfriend, Marlon Jenkins. Marlon is a famous mediator in family disputes and is known for his calm demeanor and problem-solving skills, but he has also had problems in the past with Tom. On May 15, 2014, Spartanburg was abuzz with news of a new suspect. The weather was warm and sunny. Detective Samuel Harris and Officer Lisa Rodriguez went to Marlon's house. Marlon greeted them with concern. Detective Harris asked Marlon about his relationship with Tom. Marlon admits that Tom's disagreement with his previous relationship caused bad feelings, but they got over it. He affirmed that he often helps the Prevagen family and has no reason to harm Tom. Detective Harris then asked about purchasing arsenic. Marlon explains that he bought the arsenic for a science project on pest control so as not to poison Tom. He showed them his project notes and the pest control books he had borrowed from the library. His explanation seemed believable, but the police remained cautious. Marlon's attitude changes when Detective Harris asks about his whereabouts the night Tom died. Marlon said he was at a friend's house doing a science project, and this alibi was confirmed. However, the police continued questioning. When asked about the behavior of Emerson and Ellison, Marlon affirmed that he did not see anything suspicious. He described Emerson as intelligent and focused on studies, while Ellison was rebellious and often clashed with his father. Despite an alibi and a plausible explanation for purchasing the arsenic, past tensions with Tom and close relationship with Ellison place Marlon under close scrutiny. The sunny weather outside is in stark contrast to the dark and complicated case taking place inside the police station. Detectives know they need to dig deeper into family secrets to uncover the truth about Tom Prevagen's murder. On the morning of May 14, 2014, Detective Samuel Harris and Officer Lisa Rodriguez received notification from the forensic laboratory about the Tom Prevagen case. They discovered traces of arsenic in whiskey bottles and drinking glasses, confirming that Tom had been poisoned. To find the source of the poison, they checked hardware stores and garden centers, discovering that Marlon Jenkins had purchased arsenic the week before Tom died. In addition, the police also discovered a shocking connection between Marlon and the victim. Turns out, he had a past relationship with Tom. This alone makes Marlon a potential suspect. Detective Harris and Officer Rodriguez returned to Marlon's house to question him further. Marlon was surprised but admitted to buying arsenic. He said it was for a science project on pest control. He seemed calm but worried. The police found his explanation reasonable but decided to investigate further. While reviewing the evidence, Detective Harris noticed something strange. Ellison's statements about their father's behavior do not completely match what Emerson described. Tom was his usual stoic self, while Ellison said he was more irritable than usual. This difference made the detective curious. Police also examined Tom's computer and phone records. They discovered a series of emails between Tom and a lawyer about updating his will. The emails mentioned plans to leave most of his estate to Emerson, with less to Ellison. This new information suggests a possible inheritance-related motive. Police returned to interview Emerson and Ellison with new evidence. Emerson claimed to know nothing about the will and the arsenic buyer, while Ellison appeared agitated and defensive, repeating the story but avoiding eye contact. Detective Harris suspects that the twins may know more than has been revealed. New evidence shows that the case is complicated with hidden family motives, and the police are determined to find the truth to bring justice for Tom. On May 16, 2014, Detective Samuel Harris receives an important diary from Emerson. This diary revealed her and her twin sister Ellison's plan to kill their father and frame Marlon Jenkins. The twins resented their father's control, feeling trapped. They researched arsenic, chose Tom's whiskey as a medium, and planned to plant evidence against Marlon, exploiting past tensions between him and Tom. Detective Harris and Officer Lisa Rodriguez immediately acted on the new evidence. At 10 a.m., they arrived at Prevagen's house, where Emerson and Ellison were shocked to see police. The twins knelt down and prayed when they were announced to be arrested for the murder of their father. They were handcuffed and taken to the detention center, while Ellison cried and protested his innocence. The community was stunned by the news, especially neighbor Margaret Wilkins, who discovered Tom's body. The police pieced together the story, realizing that Ellison and Emerson were pressured by their father, motivated by revenge and longing for freedom. The meticulous planning shows that they thought deeply about their actions. When the police confront Marlon with new evidence, he is relieved to have suspicion cleared but deeply disturbed by the twins' betrayal. He always tried to help them and couldn't believe they would trap him. The Prevagen family's dark secrets are finally exposed. The community struggled to understand how two young girls could commit such a calculated and cold-blooded crime. In late May 2014, the trial of Emerson and Ellison for the murder of Tom Prevagen took place in a tense atmosphere in Spartanburg. The courtroom was filled with locals eagerly watching. Prosecutor Irina Zanklin-Crack presented a strong case, arguing that the twins carefully planned and carried out their father's murder, with evidence of a plan to poison Tom and Marlon Jenkins. The prosecution also highlighted the tension between the twins and their father through witness testimony. The defense attorney, Oliver J. Palmer, argued that the evidence was circumstantial and that the twins were unfairly targeted, suggesting that someone else may have written in the diary to frame them. Palmer portrays Emerson and Ellison as victims of a controlling father, driven to despair. During the trial, testimony from family and friends painted a harrowing picture of the family. Margaret Wilkins, the neighbor who discovered Tom's body, spoke of the tension in the house, while Marlon Jenkins shared her shock when Ellison was charged. After 3 days of deliberation, the jury convicted Ellison of first-degree murder, with a sentence of 25 years to life in prison. Controversial verdict: some said it was too harsh on the young girls, while others believed justice had been served. The twins had lost their composure on their faces, the mixture of defiance and fear still evident. Ellison looked tearful and defeated before the verdict, leaving Tom's friends and family to face the pain of betrayal. Many people wonder how two young girls could commit such a cold crime. The shocking end of the trial overshadowed the bright futures of Emerson and Ellison. The courtroom was empty, leaving behind the echoes of a family tragedy. After the trial, life in Spartanburg gradually returned to normal, but the community was still deeply affected. Emerson and Ellison were taken to a juvenile detention center. Classmates at Anderson High School struggled to come to terms with the incident, often discussing it in private. Marlon Jenkins, Ellison's close friend, decided to focus on studying to leave behind painful memories, hoping to start anew. The house had been empty for months, causing neighbors to often glance with sadness and curiosity about the family that once lived there. Ultimately, it was sold to a new family in hopes of creating happier memories. Margaret Wilkins, the neighbor who discovered Tom's body, is still struggling with the trauma and has sought advice to deal with the aftermath. She became an advocate for mental health awareness in the community, leading to the creation of a support group for those affected by violent crime. The twins' friends and family struggled directly to reconcile with the loving girls they knew and the crimes they committed. Many people visited Emerson and Ellison while incarcerated, trying to provide support while also seeking answers to understand their actions. The community is divided. Some believe the girls are victims of their father's severity, while others consider them cold-blooded murderers. Over time, the Spartan community began to heal. The story has become a cautionary tale, often referenced in discussions about family dynamics and the importance of open communication. The local media has shifted focus to other stories, but the memory of Tom Prevagen's murder lingers as a reminder of the darkness that can exist even in seemingly ordinary lives, arose from the search for control. Join us next time, Solvers.